Today we got an official look at the new BLEACH Rebirth of Souls game that was announced 2 weeks ago, and I gotta say, the game does look overall very good, but the explanation and overall information that we got from this specific trailer could have been a little bit better. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because just as you probably, I was a little bit confused after watching the trailer, and unless you do like a deep dive going frame by frame, seeing what's happening in the game and understanding it, it's kind of hard to keep up and understand what it is that you just watched for 3 minutes. So I'm gonna do you guys the favor and explain all of that as best as I can in much simpler terms for you. So without further ado, let's go straight into the gameplay. Alright, so the reason why many of you may be confused is because the way that they presented this whole trailer was using literally Bleach terms. So right here, literally on the first rule that they put, it says cut down your opponent's reishi. So if you haven't been keeping up with Bleach for a while and you forgot what reishi means, if we go right here, I mean, you guys could see up here on the tabs, I had to go ahead and search up the terms just because I don't remember all of them. But reishi, according to the definition, is the fundamental particles which make up all spiritual things. So in terms of this specific game, or just a fighting game in general, your reishi gauge right here, or your reishi, is going to be your HP bar. So these two bars right here, that's where your HP is going to be. And before I start going into like how the gameplay actually works and all the rules that they displayed for us in the trailer, I want to show you guys what these meters mean, because literally there's a whole bunch of them. So reishi gauge, as I said, is your HP bar, and as this hits 0, this number right here that says 9 is going to go down until you have none left. So they call that gonpaku, and that's pretty much a way of just saying how much stocks you have left, I guess, you know, just relating it to Super Smash Bros, since most people have played that. And you have a total of 9 of that. And then if we go to this little meter that's right here under the reishi gauge, that's actually your guard gauge. So every time that you're guarding and you're getting hit, it's going to go down until it breaks. Then down here we have 2 more meters, which the yellow one is called your spiritual power gauge, which pretty much is your offensive side of how your attacks work. And then the white one is called your reverse gauge, which is more on the defensive side of how you're going to be controlling your character, which I will go ahead and explain a little bit further into video. And lastly, they have this little white gauge that's right next to the reishi gauge under your character icon, and what they went ahead and called this was your fighting spirit gauge. So not to confuse that with your spiritual power gauge down here. I know they kind of both sound alike, but pretty much this is where your evolution's happening, you know, your awakening state. Once that fills up, you go ahead and you can awaken and do other specific things, but we're gonna get into that in a little bit. So that's all the meters that you have on the screen. But going back to the rules, so the number 1 rule was cutting down your opponent's reishi. So as you can see here in the gameplay, that's exactly what's happening. And if you take a look right here, Ichigo is using his guard, and as he's using his guard gauge that I mentioned earlier is going down right there at the top. And like I said, this is going to be hard to keep up with unless you stop everything frame by frame, because there's just so much things going on. But if we look right here for a split second, we have 2 options above and below the reverse gauge and the spiritual power gauge. So as I mentioned earlier, the yellow is your offensive and the white is your defensive. And each character has their own offensive moveset. So for example, this is Ichigo's moveset. He has an all-out slash, and he has something called wielding. But if we go ahead and take a look at Byakuya's moveset, he has the Senbuzakura. Sorry, it's kind of hard for me to pronounce that. And then something called That Won't Touch Me. So this pretty much shows that each character is going to have their own unique moveset. I mean, we already knew that from the start. And the reverse actions, the white skill sets that we see at the bottom, are universal, because here it says reverse action and flash step. And if we go back to what Ichigo said, it says the same thing, reverse action and flash step. So yeah, go back to gameplay, you see them scrapping it out. And right here is a very important moment, because we get this cutscene And the cutscene, it says now or never. This was literally shown in the first ever BLEACH Rebirth of Souls trailer that we saw. We all thought that it was just an edit. It still can be an edit for all we know right now. At that specific moment, Ichigo went ahead and got rid of one of Byakuya's stocks. And it seems like there was a special action scene that was triggered, you know, the whole now or never thing. if you do whatever actions needed at that specific time, you go ahead and get another special action scene that pretty much increases how much of those stocks are taken. So now if we go ahead and look at what Ichigo specifically does, it literally says right here, rule number 2, break opponent's konbaku. That's the stocks that I was talking about. And as soon as that happens, we see Ichigo unleashing a big attack, and 3 of the stocks are taken from Byakuya. I'm sorry, I keep butchering his name, but yeah, that's specifically what happens here. And it seems that every single time that you get that specific cutscene, I don't know exactly how that's triggered. I don't know if it's when you reach a specific mark, or you have a specific meter full, or you do a specific move at that specific time. That will lead to the specific action of you taking an additional 2 of these stocks from your opponents. And I don't know if this is something that will vary between characters. I don't think so. Or maybe it'll vary between how much meter you have. Maybe it's 3 that you can have in total that happens. But yeah, I know that sounds a little bit confusing. I'm confused myself as well after explaining that, but we're gonna go ahead and move on. So after that specific moment, we see a little bit more of Ichigo and Byakuya just going at it, and we triggered a scene right here where it says turn the tide of the battle. That's pretty much the slogan of this game. So pretty much what happens here is, like I mentioned earlier, you see a little bit more of the gauges at the bottom in action. Like I was telling you, you go ahead and use the spiritual pressure move, which is your offensive, and then you have the reverse action, which you can use offensively and defensively. So as we see right here, Byakuya is going ahead and reversing everything. We see the reverse meter, well, it turned yellow now, before it was white, and you see him just reversing everything, like parrying everything Ichigo's throwing at him. And then what we see going on here is the same thing that we saw earlier with Ichigo. He had the soul break screen, which Byakuya goes ahead and takes full advantage of and uses his special move, I guess, and takes 3 stocks from Ichigo. And then finally we have the awakening, which is rule number 4. We see Byakuya going ahead and using his Bankai. By the way, this trailer made me realize one thing, and it's that I do not want to play this in English at all. I don't know, the voice actors for this, no shade to them, but it just, Japanese gotta be the way. That Bankai scream did not hit. Bankai, Senbon Sakura, Kageyoshi. The fuck you say to me? So yeah, we see Byakuya using his fighting spirit gauge. Like I mentioned earlier, that's your awakening gauge, your evolution gauge. It is going down as he is in this state. I guess you can think of it like Naruto Storm Connections when you go ahead and use your awakening, but it's going down at a much slower pace, and I don't know if it's going down as attacks are being consumed, or it's just a time matter thing, like you can only be in this state for like a specific time. It's kind of hard to tell. I think it might be per attack. It's just really hard to tell, like just because they don't show as much of it on screen. Let me go ahead and see if we slow this down, put it at a much slower pace. So see, he just used his flash step, I think it was. I don't know, he used the move. Now he hit him and he has none of that meter left, but he's still in his awakening state. And we go ahead and see him go into the ultimate move. So there he is using his awakening move, and it took 4. It took 4 of Ichigo's life now. So yeah, like I said earlier, it really does depend on when you do it, how you do it, who you do it with. It will take more of the stocks that you have from your opponent. But of course, to end off the trailer, we gotta go ahead and see Ichigo go into his Bankai form, scream out Bankai. Bankai! Tensa Zangetsu. This is my Bankai. And then we see Tenten Zangetsu, however you say, in action. We see 2 new moves at the bottom here for his offensive, Can You Keep Up, and Rapid Slash. So now he's taking the offensive, he's using his moves and going crazy on Byakuya, and that's it. That's pretty much what happens. He takes 4 away from Byakuya. Now it's tied game, and pretty much the way the trailer ends, it makes me feel like there's a clash, right? Because we have seen clashes earlier in the trailer, but this right here is like a ultimate clash. Like they're in their freaking Bankai forms, about to clash with each other. This cutscene right here, this frame looks so crazy from Byakuga. And I don't know, this could be something from the story because we do immediately see a flashback of Rukia right here, but it doesn't seem like it's moving. It just seems like a screenshot. So wherever that's from, if there is clashes in this game, that would be awesome to see how exactly they implement it. You know, taking one from the Sparking Zero page. And just to show you guys, this was the clash earlier that I was mentioning. Like, imagine this, right, as a whole cutscene, like where you're just doing some kind of input to beat your opponent or whatever. If it's just a cutscene, that's cool, but if it's a specific mechanic, I think that would be better just to add more versatility to this specific arena fighter game because, you know, at the end of the day, that is why a lot of people don't like arena fighter games because Storm Connections was like the example for what arena fighter games are, and no one really wanted to change it until we seen what Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash did. That didn't turn out in the best. You know, we had Demon Slayer as an arena fighter game. It was kind of copy and paste, just different game. Bleach does seem like it's doing its own thing, and it does have some similar aspects to every arena fighter game. I won't deny that, but I do like the route that they're taking with making it just its own unique thing, and just everything about this trailer, everything about the gameplay and how the gameplay was explained literally screams Bleach. So I'm really excited to see a little bit more. I will say that, yeah, this was as much information as we got. It was very little, but when you go ahead and break it down and go through everything, you do see that this game does have a pretty good foundation of being something unique. Now, of course, the last thing that we see in this trailer is the one thing that we all love seeing from Sparking Zero, and that's this wish list now right here. I don't know when they're going to release a date for this game. Will it even be releasing this year? But it does seem like they are planning to release this around the time when the 1000-Year Blood War arc comes back and is airing for everybody. I mean, that would be the perfect time to release this because everybody has been waiting for a Bleach console game to come, and it has been over 10 years. Anyways, I literally feel like I just fried my own brain. I hope you guys understood that breakdown of how this game is going to work. Let me know if I missed anything down in the comments and what your overall thoughts are after seeing this game. Is this something that you're specifically interested in? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Smash the subscribe button if you guys want to see some more anime content in the future. Take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!